Did you know that fear of failure is just a thought? I know, it sounds strange at first, but think about it for a second. Fear of failure isn't some physical obstacle. It's not a monster lurking in the shadows. It lives entirely in your mind. And like any thought, it can be questioned, reshaped, and ultimately let go of. Stick with me, because I will show you how. In this video, we are going to dive deep into what exactly is fear of failure and why does it have such a strong grip on us. Fear of failure feels like the massive roadblock, but when we break it down, it is just a story, a mental loop we repeat to ourselves. And here is the good news. We can rewrite that story. So let's dive in, shall we? Let's start with fear. Picture this. You are standing on the edge of a cliff, looking down, heart pounding, every cell screaming, "Don't jump." That is real fear. Your mind and body reacting to an actual threat, protecting you. Now, take that same feeling into your daily life. You've got an idea, a dream maybe, and suddenly you think, what if I fail? Your heart races, palms get sweaty, and you feel that same fear. But this time, it's not about real danger, it's about the future. A future where things go wrong. This fear, it's not about a physical threat, it's just a thought, a mental projection. Fear is built into us to keep us safe. But nowadays, we are more often afraid of non-physical threats such as failure, rejection, embarrassment, things that live entirely in the mind. That's where the fear of failure comes from, a mental construct. Now, what is failure really? For most of us, failure feels final. We think it's the opposite of success, a marker of whether we've made it or not. But let's break it down. Failure can mean a lack of success, falling short, something not going as planned. We hear things like, that project was a total flop. Their plan was doomed from the start. It's no wonder we are afraid when we describe failure this way. But here is the shift. It's just a word, a label we attach when things don't go as expected. Imagine a child learning to walk. They stumble, they fall, but they get up again. We don't call that failure, we call it learning. But somewhere along the way, we began treating failure like a massive threat. What if it's just a step, not the end? A stepping stone to something greater? With that in mind, is the fear of failure really something to dread? Or is it just a thought, a mental expectation of what could go wrong? We treat failure like it defines us, but it's just part of growth, part of becoming. Let's explore how this fear of failure is actually a belief system, how it's a pattern of thoughts that can be questioned and changed. Ready to go deeper? Fear of failure doesn't just show up one day. It's part of a belief system built over time. These beliefs are shaped by the meaning we've attached to past experiences, especially the moments where things didn't work out as we planned. Every setback, every disappointment added a layer to that system, feeding thoughts like, I'm not good enough, I should have done better, what was I thinking? Over time, these thoughts harden into beliefs, creating a narrative about who we are, and eventually, this fear becomes a filter for how we see ourselves and the world. These beliefs don't stay hidden in the background either. They show up every time you are about to start something new. Think of those moments when you are about to step out of your comfort zone, when you are excited to start a new project, take a risk, or chase after a dream. Suddenly, those old thoughts come flooding back. Remember that time you tried and it didn't work out? What if this time is the same? I tried in the past and it didn't work. What's the point? And just like that, fear of failure takes hold. It triggers all the what ifs and how can I make sure this doesn't go wrong again questions. This is where fear of failure goes beyond just a thought. It becomes a cycle. The limiting beliefs we've built from past experiences. Beliefs like I'm not worthy, I'm not smart enough, or I always mess things up start to dictate our actions. These beliefs create barriers in our minds, and we start to believe that any future attempt will end just like the past ones. We get paralyzed by the how questions. How can I succeed if I failed before? How can I make sure this doesn't end in disappointment? Let's break down how this fear-based belief system can manifest in our lives. It often shows up in ways that feel so real, so normal, that we don't even recognize them as fear of failure at work. One common example: perfectionism. You might think you are just trying to do your best, but perfectionism is often a shield, a way to avoid taking risks. If you never finish, never launch, never put yourself out there, you can avoid the possibility of failure altogether. But perfectionism doesn't protect you from failure. It just keeps you stuck. Perfectionism also leads to procrastination. Have you ever noticed how when you are afraid of not getting something just right, you tend to delay it? You tell yourself, I'm just not ready yet. I will start tomorrow. I need to plan it out perfectly first. But the truth is, procrastination is often fear in disguise. Fear that whatever you create wouldn't live up to the ideal version in your mind. So, instead of taking imperfect actions, you freeze. You wait. And the longer you wait, the bigger the task seems. Procrastination becomes a comfortable escape from the risk of failure. But in reality, it's just another form of self-sabotage. Then there is imposter syndrome. Have you ever felt like you are about to be exposed? Like you don't deserve the success you've achieved, or like you are not qualified enough to even try? That's fear of failure whispering again, telling you that you are not good enough, that you are one mistake away from losing it all. The fear of being found out stops you from even acknowledging your accomplishments. And let's not forget low self-esteem and lack of confidence. Over time, these beliefs chip away at how you see yourself. Every time you face a challenge, that inner critique comes up, reminding you of every setback, every mistake, reinforcing the idea that maybe you are just not cut out for success. It's like carrying around an invisible weight, constantly holding you back from stepping into your potential. What's really happening here is that our past experiences are being used against us. Every time we've experienced a failure or a setback, our minds have created a narrative around it. Instead of seeing it as a moment of learning or growth, we often label it as something final, something that defines us. I failed, therefore I am a failure. But here is the truth. Failure isn't an identity, it's an event. But when we give failure too much meaning, it starts to shape our thoughts about the future. That's when we get stuck asking ourselves, how can I make sure this doesn't happen again? And this focus on avoiding failure, avoiding disappointment, ends up paralyzing us from taking any action at all. So, how do we break free from this cycle? It starts with recognizing that these limiting beliefs aren't facts. They are not permanent. They were formed through a specific lens, a fear-based lens that only looks at the past. But the future, that's a blank canvas. Just because something didn't work out before doesn't mean it will happen again. When you start to realize that these beliefs are just stories your mind has created, you can start questioning them. You can ask yourself, is this really true? Is this belief serving me, or is it holding me back? By questioning these beliefs, you can begin to replace them with thoughts that empower you rather than paralyze you. Instead of I'm not enough, you can start telling yourself I am learning, I am growing, and I am capable. Instead of asking how can I avoid failure, you can start asking what can I learn from this experience? What do I need to improve? Ultimately, fear of failure is just a thought. It's a belief system that we've built over time, based on how we've interpreted our past. But those thoughts, those beliefs, they are not fixed. They can be changed, questioned, and replaced. The more you challenge your fear of failure, the more you start to see it for what it really is, a limiting belief that doesn't have to define you or your future. And once you shift your mindset, you stop asking, how can I make sure I don't fail? And start focusing on what can I achieve, what can I learn, and how can I grow? Here's the good news. You don't have to go through a long, painful process to break free from these limiting beliefs. You don't need to destroy them or spend years analyzing your past to be free from the fear of failure. What truly matters is becoming aware of your thought patterns. Awareness is the key. Once you recognize that fear of failure is just a thought, a belief system you've built over time, you take back your own power. And from that place of awareness, you can start to shift. So, how do you do that? How do you move beyond fear-driven beliefs and take control of your mind? Here are 3 powerful techniques that you can start applying today. They are simple but incredibly effective because they target the root, your thoughts. The first technique is all about reframing the way you look at failure. Instead of seeing failure as something negative or final, start seeing it as a stepping stone, a part of the learning process. Ask yourself, what is this situation here to teach me? By shifting the narrative from I failed to I'm learning, you remove the emotional weight that fear carries. You start to realize that failure isn't an enemy, but a teacher. Here is a simple way to apply this. The next time you catch yourself thinking, I'm afraid of failing, stop and ask, what can I learn from this attempt, even if it doesn't go as planned? This small mental shift can completely change how you approach challenges. It turns fear into curiosity, and curiosity opens the door to growth. Another powerful tool is learning to let go of the obsession with the outcome. A lot of our fear comes from worrying about how things will turn out. What if it doesn't work? What if people don't like it? What if I make a mistake? This constant focus on the future creates anxiety and keeps us stuck in fear. But here's the thing, you cannot control the future. The only thing you can control is what you do right now. So instead of focusing on whether or not you will succeed, focus on the process. When you are about to take action, remind yourself, I'm here to learn, to improve, to explore and expand. Whether you succeed or not doesn't matter as much as the fact that you are growing through the experience. When you detach from the need to control the outcome, you take away fear's power. And this is the greatest form of success. A practical tip here. Whenever you are about to start something new, take a deep breath and say to yourself, I'm committed to the journey, not the result. This will keep you present, grounded, and free from the paralyzing what-ifs. The third technique is about actively practicing awareness of your thought pattern. And one of the most effective ways to do that is through journaling. Writing things down helps you get your thoughts out of your head and into the light, where you can see them clearly. It's a way to become conscious of the beliefs and thoughts driving your fear. Once you see them written out, they lose some of their power. Here is how to use journaling. When you feel fear of failure creeping in, grab a notebook and write down exactly what you are thinking. What are the fears? What are the how questions swirling around in your mind? For example, you might write, how will I succeed if I am not good enough? Or how can I make sure I don't fail? Once you've written them down, challenge those thoughts. Ask yourself, is this thought really true? Often you will find that these thoughts are based on old stories, not facts. By writing and then questioning your fears, you become aware of the limiting beliefs driving them. And once you are aware, you can start replacing them with new, empowering thoughts. For example, if you wrote down I'm not good enough, you could reframe it into I'm learning and growing with every experience. Journaling allows you to transform your mindset one thought at a time. So, there you have it. 3 simple but powerful techniques to help you break free from the fear of failure. You don't have to completely eliminate your fear or go on a long, complicated journey to change your belief system. The key is awareness. By reframing failure, letting go of the need for control, and becoming aware of your thought patterns, you take control back from fear. And once you do that, you open the door to new possibilities, new growth, and new success. To summarize, remember that fear of failure is just a thought that can be reframed. By detaching from outcomes and practicing thought awareness, you can free yourself from its grip and focus on growth. Allow me to add this. The only way to be a total failure is when you quit. Otherwise, you are succeeding in every attempt to move forward. And let's be honest here. How on earth can you be sure that you've learned and progressed if you don't face the same challenge more than once to check if you learned the lesson? You might fail at your first business, but guess what will get you to a better business? The lessons you will choose to learn, the takeaways from your failure, and how you will respond next time. You might have reacted to your past setbacks by defining them as failure, and that's all right, as long as you commit to responding from now on by correcting and moving forward. So, now that you have these powerful tools to break free from the fear of failure, why stop here? If you are ready to dive even deeper into transforming your thought patterns and mastering your emotions, I have 2 playlists that will be instrumental in helping you take the next step. First, I highly recommend checking out my playlist Positive Mindset Makeover. In this series, you will discover even more strategies to transform negative thought patterns and enhance your mental health. It covers essential techniques like cognitive restructuring, which will empower you to reduce anxiety and stress while developing a resilient, positive mindset. If you found today's techniques helpful, this playlist will provide you with even more practical tools to keep moving forward. Remember, it's all in your mindset. If you are looking to master your emotions on a deeper level, you will absolutely love my playlist, Master Your Emotions, the ultimate guide to emotional intelligence and stress relief. This series is packed with insights on how to navigate your emotions in a calm and healthy way, equipping you to respond to life's challenges with clarity and control. Because emotional intelligence is like the light in the dark, the roadmap to mental clarity. Both of these playlists are linked in the description below, so make sure to check them out. They are designed to give you a comprehensive toolkit not only for overcoming fear, but also for creating lasting change in how you think, feel, and live. Remember, awareness is the first step. These resources will guide you on your journey to mastering your mind and emotions. So hit play on those next videos and continue your growth. Trust me, you wouldn't want to miss what's next. If you found this video valuable, please take a moment to like, share, and subscribe for more content like this. Your support helps spread this message and empower others on their journeys. Thank you for your time and attention. I genuinely hope you found value in this video and that you apply these insights in your life whenever you embark on something new. Through this video, I encourage you to take massive, committed, imperfect actions to make your dreams come true. Level up, and demonstrate just how worthy and valuable you are. Don't let your thoughts limit you. From now on, take the lead. Choose your thoughts and move forward with intention. Remember, failure is just a perception. So promise me this: when fear arises, acknowledge it and recognize it. Because the best way is to respond instead of reacting. So please, face every alarm reasonably and face every angst rationally. Because it's false events appearing real, meaning you must stop finding excuses and reasons. What is going to be your next move to make despite the fear of failure? Write it in the comments. I am looking forward to see you in the next video. Much love.